Welcome to this Windows channel, and this is the numbers that we've had for the month of June for the Windows operating system, basically, and well, pretty much all the operating systems. And it's very interesting. Once again, we see here the progression of Windows 10. Very interesting also to see that there was kind of a progression of Windows 7 for some time. But anyways, if we look at the numbers for June, and this is from net market share. And we see here that, first of all, Windows 10 steadily advancing, but from May to June, pretty much stable. When you look at the numbers, they're too small of an increase to really call it an increase. But still, by the if we look at the beginning of the year 2017, we've 6 months now done, half of the year done. We've moved on from 25.3 to 26.8. So that's 1.5% increase in market share for Windows 10. That's not a big increase, but it's increasing. It's getting a little more interesting. So at least we see that. But of course, the pace of increase is much slower. Windows 7, very stagnant, we're moving around 49, 48. It's very, very curious. And as we look at the Windows 10 numbers and how the progression of Windows 10 is pretty much there in a steady manner, it's very weird to see Windows 7 moving up and down. So, we've if we look at January at 47.2, but we look at May at 49.4, but in April of 48.5, then went 49.4. There's some kind of weird thing happening with these numbers, and I'm I'm wondering a little bit about the reliability of these stats, and that I think there's such um, a huge error margin probably in the way that they do these stats that I'm not taking that necessarily as a really an increase or anything. There's something just different. I don't know what. Looking at Windows 8.1, steadily declining now, just 6.4% of computers out there. Windows XP, kind of weird. That's also a number that's weird. That's moving up and down, moving from 5.66 to 6.94, almost 7% suddenly. That would be an increase. I can't really believe that Windows XP has an increase in installs. That would kind of be you know, not really logical at this state. I can't believe that if we look at those numbers at 1.3% of PCs, people reinstall Windows XP. That once again, I think that shows the nature of these statistics that are not as accurate as maybe we want them to be. And finally, if we look at Mac OS 10 and at 10.12, which is the Mac OS Sierra, 20.49%. But that's not the full numbers of Mac. Remember that this is showing just one aspect of the Mac operating system, which is 10.12. In the other column at the end, there's the other versions of OS 10, like 10.7, 0.8, 0.9, and so on, that are still being used. So I would put the Mac OS operating system probably closer to 8 or 9%, and keep the other at the Linux level. That's probably around 1 to 2%. In general, Linux is steadily pretty much always around 2% in many statistics. So at the least, if we take 2% of other for Linux, then we have 5.3% that we can add to Mac OS 10 probably. We know, of course, probably Chromebooks in there, but thing is Chromebooks have not registered, from what I see, into at least 1% yet. So interesting stats anyways. And seeing that Windows 10 is, progressing, but at a very slow pace right now. And it's going to be it's interesting to see with the arrival of Windows 10s, and of course by the end of the year where we're going to be at Windows 10. At this space, we're not going to be much more than maybe 27.5%, 28% around December. So at least small progression. And Microsoft did say they were happy, so I guess it's going okay for what they expect. If you enjoy our videos, please subscribe, give us thumbs up, and if you have any comments about these stats, why not share them with us in the comments section. And thank you for watching our videos.